Welcome to the Double Dragon Moshcast. We are your hosts. I'm Chris.
I'm Evan.
And we are the proclaimed Lee brothers of the heavy metal scene.
That's right. Slash hardcore scene.
Slash punk scene.
Why don't we tell them how we got that name?
Well, a long time ago. Well, me and Evan, first off, have known each other for years. I'd say we...
98, 99, 2000.
Something like that. We met each other at a media play. Mr. Evan over here was wearing a nice goat whore hoodie.
Yeah.
That I, right away, was like, oh, goat whore. Right on. High five.
Yeah, we live in Macon, Georgia, in case you're listening to this from out of town. And that's a very, very fucking small town in the middle of nowhere. So I didn't expect anybody to recognize a goat whore shirt. I just expected somebody to try and, start a fight with me.
Or say you're worshiping Satan.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we started there. Come to find out, you played in a band at the time called Sugar Virus.
Yep.
And I was friends with a band that was playing with you at the time called Escape Confusion. Mm-hmm. And we got to talking, and next thing I know, one thing led to another. A couple years later, we were roommates. Mm-hmm. Started going to hardcore shows together. Mm-hmm. Got in our younger days when we used to do a little dance.
Yep.
Started doing the Michael Jackson Thriller. Started wearing the bandanas, and we became the Lee Brothers.
Yep. We would just show up to shows, and we eventually got red and blue bandanas that we would wear, and we would just go and we would mosh it up in memory of Double Dragon, because it's a video game that we both loved, and we still love mosh. I still mosh. I'm an old-ass bastard. I'm always scared I'm going to hit some underage kid and get put in jail, but fuck it. That's what music's for, to go out there and mosh and have fun.
I will do it every once in a while, but most of the shows I go to nowadays, I enjoy the music, so I actually just stand and watch. I'm one of those guys now. Mm-hmm. So, Evan, our first episode, we're going to talk about our roots, where we've pretty much discovered that band or that song that pretty much put us where we are today. Mm-hmm. For you, what band or what song was that pivotal point?
Well, I got 5 here, so I guess we'll just kind of talk about all 5 of our choices from each of our lists, and then we'll go over the grand 5, if you will.
Sounds good.
For me, I'll start off with God Forbid. God Forbid is a band that has always been amazing to me. I first heard them on a Century Media Records compilation. The song was Wicked, I believe. It was either Wicked or Go Your Own Way, one of the two. And it was awesome because at that point I was still super into the Swedish death metal stuff and just, really melodic death metal. But it also had like the kind of hardcore sound to it. It had a lot of breakdowns, some good mosh parts. And I was like, this is a perfect marriage of 2 of my favorite styles of music. And ever since then, I had been a fan. And when they came out with the album this one was on, Gone Forever, they kind of changed things a little bit. They came out with some clean vocals, which didn't suck, which is strange for me because I normally fucking hate clean vocals. But they were all right. And the song Force Fed, to me, ended up being one of my favorite songs, if not the favorite song that they have ever written, because it's got a good beginning, a good middle, and a great fucking breakdown at the end. And I think I've probably seen them in concert 8 or 9 times, and like every time they play that, I lose my mind like it's fucking Christmas. It's brand new all over again.
And they're one of the first bands that I remember when I first started getting into the metal hardcore scene that I guess you were the one who introduced me to them, actually. Mm-hmm. They were like the first band. When I looked them up, I was like, oh, a multi-ethnical band.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a black singer that's not Stuck Mojo, or and they actually just freaking shred, and that just, they had such heavy breakdowns, and they had that song, Anti-Hero.
Yeah.
Man, I heard that song on a compilation. I remember, I was like, man, this song is amazing.
And man, I fucking swear, dude, when I saw their singer, Byron, I was like, that's the fucking Predator. Somebody call Arnold Schwarzenegger because the Predator's on the fucking stage. He's this big, huge black dude with these gigantic dreadlocks, and man, he's just like, ah! And it was like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's, again, a great band. That's a great band to actually be in that list. I'm going to skip over to one of my first ones, and this band, this band is one of my number ones. It's not on my final list, but it's definitely in my personal top 5. It's Converge. It's a band that anybody who knows me knows this is a band that I'm completely obsessed with.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, me and you went to a concert of theirs back during their You Fail Me tour. Who that album to me is probably one of the best albums. And actually, Eagles Become Vultures is that song that pretty much opened so many doors, especially when I knew I was going to be in a band. That was a song, and the way a frontman, Jacob Banner, that was a guy that I looked up to, as in, like, I want to do that. I want to be that right there. And he's just, as an artist, he does so much. He draws, he produces, he runs a record label. I mean, this guy does everything. Right? Yeah, Death Wish Incorporated. I mean, it's one of my favorite. It has amazing bands on there. But yeah, Converge, as you know, is definitely one of my top bands, no doubt.
And I remember just all the times that we would talk about music, Converge would always come up as number one for you. And like anytime I think of Converge, you're the first person that I think of. Just like t-shirts and hoodies and stuff, and just like even like in your stage presence when you do vocals and stuff, I can see a lot of Jacob in you because you have that same style. Because like I'm pretty sure you remember as well as I do when we went to that concert. We like moshing, but that place was a fucking just death.
If for people who don't know, we saw them at this place called the Masquerade in Atlanta. It's an old cotton gin, I think it used to be back in the early 1900s. So upstairs in what they call heaven, it's pretty big, it's pretty spacious, but it was packed. It was like October of 2005.
Yeah,
and it was slam packed, and it was just wall to wall. The floor was shaking. And I just remember when they played that whole set, there was no way you could dance. All you could do was somehow jump by security, run off stage, and stage dive, and that was it. And I got to do that once. That was pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, that was just. I think we stood to the side.
We stood on the fucking wall because I remember it looked like a football field. It was like this long mosh pit of people just punching each other. It wasn't even moshing. It wasn't dancing. It was just people fighting
each other.
And like there was push moshing. I was like, I ain't even getting in that shit. That's fucking ridiculous.
But it was still the best show. Even standing to the sidelines, it was the best show.
Yeah, it was intense.
Oh my god, it was seriously one of the most intense shows I've ever seen.
They're just like, the word that I think of when I think of them is just, frantic, frenetic, even better. Because, I mean, they're just so explosive and just furious. It's just really aggressive, chaotic music. They're one of the bands, I think, that really carved a niche out for themselves. Like, nobody... Like, a lot of bands sound like Converge now, but before Converge came out, nobody really had that sound.
Yeah, and actually, they were around. They've been around since the mid-'90s.
Yeah.
And, they were a band that's pretty much... paved a way for a lot of bands that have come out now. I mean, Curl Up and Die, just that spastic, that chaotic sound. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were the band that started it first. Mm-hmm. And they've actually had some members who went on and were part of Bane, were part of Doom Riders, Old Man Gloom. Oh man, I can't even remember all the bands they're part of. A lot of bands. Cave In, I think maybe. I'm probably wrong on that. I don't know.
And it's because of Converge that I actually found out what the Cinnamon Challenge was.
Oh God, yes.
Because our buddy Wes actually was on. He's like kind of like a tour manager, roadie, merch type guy. And he goes on a lot of tours. And he was on tour with him. And he was like, "You know what the Cinnamon Challenge is?" I was like, "No, what the fuck is that? I love cinnamon." He's like, "Yeah, when I was with Converge, they would just fill this cap full of cinnamon, and anybody who could take the cinnamon all the way down would win a T-shirt." But what happens is the cinnamon sucks all of the moisture out of your mouth and your lungs. So when you breathe in, you're like killing yourself pretty much.
You're choking.
You're just choking.
If you don't know what a cinnamon challenge is, go on YouTube, Google it. Whatever you got to do, you'll find it. It'll pop up right away. It's not hard to miss at all.
So it's like not only do they give you amazing music, but they also give you amazing enjoyment and fucking things to watch on YouTube. So thank you, Converge.
Quite hilarious. I remember New England Hardcore Metal Hardcore Fest DVD. They had this belt thing. They used to hit each other on the arm with the belt. I don't know, but it's like they would hold each other's arm and then just wail on their arms with a belt.
And it wasn't even like a punishment, or it was just like a way to pass time. They were saying, I'm like,
I'm good.
Haven't you guys ever heard of frisbees?
Yeah, I mean push-ups. I mean something. Go for a jog. I mean
exactly.
But all right. Next on the list.
For me, I would like to bring in Shadows Fall.
Great band.
Another one of the pivotal bands that really helped me cross over from the metal into the hardcore. And to me, the thing that stood out for more than anything else, because...
dreadlocks?
Yeah, dreadlocks. He had some long-ass dreadlocks, but specifically was the lyrics. Because at this point in my life, when I was starting to get into it, I was moving away from the Satan, 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 murder, 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 just, miserable shit. And I remember reading the lyrics, I was like, what is this? This is fucking Buddhist stuff. What the fuck? So I was like, okay, I'll give it a read. And that kind of got me onto like an Eastern philosophy kind of field trip. And if I hadn't have read those lyrics, I might not have ever started in that area. So if not for Shadows Fall, I probably wouldn't have started seriously looking into Buddhism. So like that was one of the things that really changed my life a whole lot. And it was because of the specific lyrics in that song. And the First Noble Truth, the name of the song, is just fucking amazing. It's a great song. It's got good like stomp riffs like old Anthrax. It's got good fast parts for Circle Pits, but they're one of the bands that really kind of thought outside of the box of metal and hardcore, and just started writing things differently. And the music was fucking great. Had a real solid like melodic death metal sound to it. A lot of In Flames influence, a lot of like Dark Tranquillity, but it had the real good mosh parts because Brian used to be the vocalist for a hardcore band called Overcast.
Who also had Adam, or not Adam, but the bass player from Killswitch Engage in it.
That's true. Joel.
Yeah. Yep.
And so he kind of came over from that. And prior to that, I think Phil from All That Remains was a singer for Shadows Fall. And like if you read those lyrics, it's all like, "Oh, I miss my girlfriend." And
which All That Remains is now?
Yeah, pretty much. That's why they get played on the radio, I guess.
That's right, I guess. I don't know.
But anyway, Shadows Fall changed my outlook on a lot of things, and I got to see them in concert probably 4 or 5 times. They were always really cool every time I met them, real friendly, real talkative, and just nothing but good things to say about that band, and lots of good memories associated with that song.
As a band when I think of a band that is just so tight when it comes to like thrashy riffs, that band right there just had it together. I remember seeing them live too, and they were just first off, don't stand in a 10-meter radius of Brian when he's headbanging while singing, because you're probably going to lose an eye from the dreadlocks. Because no joke, if you have never seen a picture of this guy, his dreadlocks go all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, they go all the way to the floor. But he's seriously the nicest guy in the world, and they just shred so hard. I mean, they are seriously one of the best metal bands in the 2000s, easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to your list. What's your next one?
All right, my next one is a band that, when it comes to the hardcore scene, when it comes to the metal scene, I guess you could, especially the hardcore, I guess you could say they're one of the forefathers of it. Mm-hmm. Hatebreed.
Yes,
Hatebreed. As a band that just makes you want to punch your fist through the earth.
Yeah,
it is Hatebreed, and I actually thought of the song Doomsayer that came off of I forgot what album it came off now.
The Rise of Brutality.
The Rise of Brutality. Thank you, Evan Jones. Mm-hmm. But yes, great album. That song is just, I remember the last like 20 seconds of that song, that end breakdown where so your doom awaits you.
Yeah.
That dun 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 dun. Oh my God, I wanted to punch God in the taint so bad to that riff. That was I just remember, like, I heard that song for the first time when we were roommates, and I was on your computer, and I had just pulled it up. They had just released it online, and I pulled it up, and I'm just glad I backed a few feet away because I didn't want to destroy your AOL connected computer at the time. But man, as a band that I've been lucky enough to see that band live too. And
what was that like? Because I haven't been able to see him yet.
Oh man, it's a bunch of tough guys, a bunch of wife beaters in the pits, a bunch of just. I mean, it's hard to explain. It's just, it's at first they're amazing. I mean, first off, Jamie Joss is probably one of the best frontmen out there.
Absolutely,
seriously.
yeah.
Especially when it comes to hardcore, especially when it comes to like wanting to bring people in and just get the crowd pumped up. He is that guy.
Yeah.
Great show. I mean, gosh, man, they played so many. I mean, everything that came off of their second album, Death's Desire or whatever, that Puritan, one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Last Breath, one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that band, ever since they came out in the 90s, has significantly put out great album after great album. Their covers album. They have a song, the Misfits song, Hate Breeders.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs. One of my favorite covers.
Yeah,
right there.
Dude. They did Obituary. They did Cro-Mags. They did a bunch of
Slayer?
good albums. Slayer, yeah.
Yeah.
They did a video for that one.
Gosh. And Jamie Josta's gone on to do other things. He had his own solo project, Josta. He did the
Headbangers Ball. He did
Headbangers Ball. He had that band with the guy from Crowbar.
Kingdom of Sorrow.
Great band.
And he has a podcast now as well.
Does he?
Yeah, Jamie Josta's got his own podcast.
Well, I will have to check that out, good sir.
Yeah, man. If it wasn't for you, I probably would have never heard that song because you specifically
I made you say it because you weren't really into hard. You were into some hardcore, but I don't think Hatebreed was like your cup of tea yet. And I made you sit down. I was like, dude, you have to hear this last breakdown. I was like, you have to hear it.
As soon as I heard your doom awaits you, I was like, fuck, I'm sold right now.
Yeah,
let's go punch some robots into the sun. And it blew my mind, man.
That band, oh man, that song. That song still gets heavy rotation in my car easily.
To this day, I still listen to a fuck ton of Hatebreed when I'm, running or going to the gym or just ready to just, spar or whatever the fuck it is. They are awesome pump up music. Great lyrics. One of my biggest influences is the lyricist too, because all of his shit is just, like believing in yourself and helping out your friends.
Exactly. I remember the album they came out right after that. I think it was right after it. No, it was the third album. It had Perseverance.
Yeah.
Perseverance.
Oh, I love that song.
Man, that song right there. If you want to talk about a pump-up song, keeping your head in the game, just staying positive and just striving to do better, that song right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so moving on.
Okay, so back to my list. Next, we're going to go to one of, I'm going to say, probably the most influential band in my life, Obituary. Obituary changed my life when I was in about 6th grade, I think. My friend at the time, Graham Bickerstaff, who ended up moving away, he got me into a lot of music like the Misfits and other stuff, but he gave me a Hypocrisy tape, and I was like, well, these guys are cool. And then I got Cannibal Corpse, and I was like, these guys are cool. And then I remember I'm about to show my age here. I saw a cassette tape for Obituary, and it was the cover of a book that my dad had given me, an H.P. Lovecraft book with all these stories in it.
And for you people don't know what a cassette tape is a thing that was very popular in the 80s and mid-90s, and it came out right before CDs.
Yes, Walkmans and things of that nature. The pencil test, if you will.
Quick, first cassette tape.
Oh, my God. I would say, I think my first cassette tape, it was either a Weird Al Yankovic album.
Yes!
Or Somewhere in Time by Iron Maiden.
Mine, I was into the alternative scene real big in the 90s, so it was the Presidents of the United States of America.
Good choice.
Yes.
Good choice.
So that was my first tape I purchased with my own money.
Hell yeah.
All right, sorry. So, Obituary.
Yeah, so I pick up this album. I'm like, I have this book at the house. This must be a sign. So I take it home and I play it, and I was just fucking blown away. I listened to that tape all day long, front and back, over and over and over again. I couldn't believe because, like, they were one of the first bands that were, like, heavy. Like, they're genuinely heavy. And, of course, when you hear death metal, it's going to have blast beats, bomb blasts, all that stuff. But they were just fucking heavy.
They had that little, like, just down tone to it that just sucked you in. And you could, if you did not bang your head to any of their songs, you didn't have a pulse.
Yeah. And the song was called Chopped in Half. And I just remember when it played, that was the first thing that I could make out because I hadn't mastered my ability to understand death metal vocals.
Your linguistics towards metal music of vocals.
And, man, John Tardy has the fucking craziest death metal vocal. I can't even do it now, but I'm going to try. All you hear is dun 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 chopped in half. Feel the blood spill from your mouth. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And that, Obituary, I had heard the name, but I really didn't listen to the music till I met you. Because you are a huge Obituary fan.
They're probably one, if not my favorite band of all time, easily in my top 3.
How many times have you seen them?
They've only came to Atlanta while I was able to go see them 4 times, and I saw them all 4 times. God, one time I saw them, fucking John Tardy wasn't even there. They had like some stage tech do the vocals. I didn't even care. I had a fucking great time. I was singing along in the crowd. It was awesome. I would see them if they had a fucking recording of him. I don't even give a shit at this point. I just want to be in the room with them because they're one of my idols.
That is awesome.
I've never heard an Obituary album that I didn't like. But specifically Chopped in Half.
You're a true fan right there. If you believe that no matter what a band does, that they can never do wrong, that is a true fan.
Because they're just consistent, man. I mean, they change things up here and there, but it's always within the Obituary sound. And, if I'd never heard Chopped in Half, I probably wouldn't have gotten into death metal as much as I did, and who knows where I would have been today.
Well, and since we're on that point, do you want to introduce this first song we're going to play?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pop that on there to give everybody an idea of how it sounds. This is Obituary, Chopped in Half.
Chopped in half, feel the blood spill from your mouth. Rotting waves come destiny. Feel the soul taking on it. Breathe. Chopped in half, feel the blood spill from your mouth. Rotting waves come destiny. Feel the soul taking on it. Breathe.
right, that was Obituary chopped in half. As you can see, I don't sound any fucking thing like John Tardy. He sounds way cooler than I do, but
that song is so heavy, man. Gosh, seriously, you cannot help sitting here, just both of us just banging our head like crazy.
Yeah, for real, it's just fucking outstanding. I can't believe how much I love that song. So let's go back to your list. What's next?
This is a band that is Georgia bred right here. This is a band that started out in Atlanta that we were lucky enough to go see together. It was actually it was my very first show at, and actually my last two bands that I'm about to mention, both of them played together. But the Mastodon
Yeah.
from Atlanta. If you don't know who Mastodon is, do yourself a favor. pause the podcast right now, pull up YouTube, and listen to any. Well, you can listen to anything. I mean, their sound has changed for the most part since their first album, but it's still. I mean, you're still getting that Mastodon sound. Actually, the song that I fell in love with Mastodon with is March of the Fire Ants off of Remission.
Yes.
They were signed to Relapse Records at the time, and Remission came out, and I had heard the song. You had mentioned going up to see them play in Atlanta, and I was like, I have to go. I have to go. We show up. We show up with our buddy Cliff and our other buddy Jason.
Jason Bowen. Yeah.
Who I like to think looks like a lot like Mike Patton.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
little stoutier Mike Patton. So Jason Bowen standing there with his pitcher of beer, not a cup of beer, pitcher of beer.
Which he called a picture of beer.
Picture. He goes, hey, Chris, would you like a sip of beer? Oh, 19-year-old Chris was like, sure, Jason, thanks. So I take a big old swig of it. Next thing I know, this punk chick with mohawk, spiky hair comes up and couldn't really hear her because a band was playing at the time. And basically, I thought to some, old Don Juan over here thought she was asking that I want a drink. And I was like, no, I'm good. And then she looks at me and goes, are you 21? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then she grabs my arm and tells me I have to leave.
Oh,
Come to find out she works
God
there.
damn it.
So I deserve that. But with my superb ninja skills, I run out to your van, throw on a hoodie, pop up the hoodie, walk right back inside.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so great.
Just in time to see Mastodon walk on stage.
Man. And I'll say, I'm a drummer. And
oh, yes, of course.
We probably should have mentioned this earlier, but Chris and I have been in a band together. Dragon Sleeper's still in it, but, I play drums, and I love playing drums. I always will. But the fucking second that I saw Bron Daler, the drummer for Mastodon, my life changed. It's like when you're a wandering, martial arts student, and you happen upon the mountain, and you see your teacher for the first time, you're like, holy shit.
The long mustache, like white-haired Chinaman who's standing like in the crane position. Yeah. He's been there for like 40 days in the same position.
Exactly.
That was him.
Some crazy mountain man fucking meditating under a goddamn waterfall. So I see him playing, and this man is a human metronome. I don't see him. I've never seen him fuck up at a concert, personally, ever. I have not seen it. And he's amazing. He does fills. He plays, the weirdest time meters. I just have no idea how he does it. Like, I would just sit there. I ended up memorizing a lot of the stuff because I forced myself to, and it really helped me grow as a drummer. But if you ever want to see what I would consider one of the best living drummers, one of the treasures of Macon, Georgia, of Atlanta, Georgia, excuse me, I would say watch Bron Daler, listen to anything he has to say. Every time I've fucking seen them. I've opened up for them twice. And both times, anytime that I see him, I'm just like, Sensei, please give me a lesson. And he's always cool. He's always laid back. He's always got some funny fucking jokes, some road stories to say. So it's like, not only was he a great drummer, but he also ended up being a cool human being. And like, that changed my life forever.
We were lucky enough to meet them. I remember when I actually got to meet them in Savannah, when y'all played with them at Orfest. And they were a band that, seriously, they were just, Remission was... They were kind of ending their time with Remission. They were about to record Leviathan. They were getting ready to head to Washington to record Leviathan. And I remember they were really excited about it. I was really excited about it because it was new Mastodon music. And I just remember they just stood outside, out back, and just talked to us the entire time. And they were just super awesome and super nice. But like you said, the drummer, Brent, he is a guy that I am not a drummer. I am not a guitar player. I do a half-ass vocals. And
you do awesome vocals.
Oh, whatever. I'm a shucks guy. But that was a guy that anytime I would listen to Mastodon, I would air the fuck out of drums. Constantly. Like, I am sure that if you tried to time it with my air drums to his actual drums, it was completely off. But I would be in my vehicle driving with my knee, which was super safe. And I would air drum the fuck out of Mastodon. And you had to. I mean, just his drums, his fills, oh man. Just March of the Fire Ants alone. When you listen to it, you understand. And on that note, here is Mastodon with March of the Fire Ants.
How fucking great is that song?
Man, like I said, again, air drumming. How can you not do it?
It's impossible.
Exactly.
It casts a magical spell on your brain, which makes you lose control of your very limbs, which will begin playing in time or not drums along with the song.
Again, air drums. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, moving on.
Oh, man. So let's see. What do I got left on my list here? Black My Heart.
I fucking love Black My Heart. That freaking New England hardcore at its finest right there. A band that was cut too short.
Way too short.
Too soon.
They only had one official release and a demo, and it came out in 2005. It was called Before the Devil, and it's like, there is not a bad song on that whole fucking album. You can play it front to back, and if you haven't punched somebody, you must be listening to the wrong album.
In this time period, I was actually getting ready to go to Iraq, so I was kind of in and out of hanging out with Evan Jones. But I remember I came home on leave for a little bit before we were actually leaving, and you introduced me first off to the Casey Strain. They're out on 3750.
Yeah,
which all you did was play Car Bomb, which was 45 seconds. Of just this is
true crime.
Yeah, 4 words. That was probably the heaviest thing I'd heard at the time.
Breakdown.
And then you played Black My Heart, and I will never forget the chant. These are my friends. I have their back. They are the closest thing to blood that I have, or they have my back. Whatever. You get the gist. But that song alone right there. And that album alone, rather. Antonio Ricci, one of my favorite songs. One of my favorite songs ever. I can sing that song from start to finish. I want to sing. That song should be on every karaoke machine.
Yeah, dude, I've done that at karaoke before. Well, I did. I did the one that I'm going to tell you guys about. Play here in a minute. It's called "We Weren't Brought Up Right," and it's just fucking great because it's about family. Although I'm sure it probably has something to do with like all the fucking crazy shit they got going on up there with FSU. To me, it's just genuinely about looking out for people that you care for. It's a song about family. And when you have, that's the thing that I love about hardcore is there's lots of songs that are just about the closeness of friendship, the closeness of family, what you would do to look out for those people who care for you. And that's what this song is to me. It's nothing more than a moment in time where a guy was saying, these are some people that I really care about. They're my family. We've had a rough life, but we stick together. You can't kill us all. And that's what this song is about.
And that's the thing about the metal, the hardcore, the punk community. A lot of people who are on the outside don't realize this. They see it. You're like, oh, these kids, degenerates. They think they look down on you. But what they don't know is this is seriously a tight knit community. It's a community that like I have met some of the closest, most special people in my life, thanks to hardcore, thanks to metal, thanks to punk, thanks to the music scene itself. And I mean, there is people that I'll always be there for, and I know that no matter what, they'll be there for me.
Absolutely, and that's what this song is about. You'll hear the chant at the end. This is our family. You can't kill us all. This song is called "We Weren't Brought Up Right" by Black My Heart.
Life or death, down as I die, down. You are big girls. I run from the past. Then I run the best and try to all swing revenge. So right again, let it fall. And while you're right, I never felt so one day. Today's the day I break myself. So let your fucking heart.
Man, I'm sorry I had to go outside and punch a tree 18 times.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that I broke something because I staged off your couch just then. And I was trying to climb your shoulders, a one-man climb on your shoulders to chant a song that we knew was happening.
God, that shit's great. Okay, so let's move on next to you. What else you got left?
My last number 5 song, and it's not last. Again, I had no particular order. These were just 5 songs in general.
Actually, you have 2 left.
Oh, yes, I do. My fault. But, yeah, this song right here is actually... It means this song, Darkest Hour. I'll just say the band, Darkest Hour. You were talking about Swedish metal influences.
Yeah.
You were talking about that Gothenburg sound.
Yes.
This is a band who's from Baltimore or the DC area, that whole scene. They're a band that you and I have both been lucky enough to meet. Mm-hmm. Super nice guys. John Henry, nice dude, the drummer.
Ryan.
Super hat dude right there.
Yeah.
Quick story. Me and Evan go see him in Savannah. Evan runs up to the drummer and he's like, introduces himself. And apparently, I guess you guys had spoken before.
Yeah, I saw them at the Masquerade. Let me give you a little preamble here. I got a free CD from this magazine. I think it's called Pit Magazine. And the song Epitaph was on there. And like, I was one of the only people that went up there to see him because I loved that fucking song. And I remember just being at the show. And like they had stopped saying something, and I went, Epitaph! And John Henry said, who the fuck said that? Because I guess he didn't expect anybody to know it. So I was like, me! Please play that song! He's like, this song's for you, this is an Epitaph. And then after that, like I went back and talked to him, and it's cool because back then nobody really knew who they were. So like the whole band was just hanging out talking to me. I was like, awesome, this band rules, they're awesome, they're friendly, this is great. So when I saw them with you at Savannah, it was my second time seeing them. So they kind of remembered me from that Masquerade.
I don't think Sadist Nation had come out yet, had it?
It was just about to come out. They had released the song Sadist Nation at that time.
If you notice, especially with my list, a lot of these songs and bands that are in song came out around the same area. This was like the height of my music, like in depthness right here. But yes, Darkest Hour had, Evan shows up. Talks to the drummer. He's like, oh, I got you a hat. Apparently, the drummer is infamous for wearing silly, crazy hats.
Yes.
So, Evan, we all walk to his van. The guy makes a joke about, all right, you guys ain't going to kill me back here, are you? Or something to that effect, which didn't know him. I knew Evan. I didn't think Evan was going to kill him.
No, I hadn't planned on it.
So, Evan goes up and pulls out a beer mug hat.
I would say it's like about a foot tall.
Cat in the hat beer mug hat.
Yeah, cat in the hat beer mug hat with a bill on it. So it looks like a normal baseball hat that's replaced the fucking baseball area with a giant foam beer mug.
That is excellent. It was seriously, and I've never seen somebody so happy about a beer mug hat.
Exactly.
He was seriously a happy dude.
Man, it's just, oh man, that was such a great time because they played the second day, I think, of RFest, wasn't it?
No, it was first day.
It was first day
with Evergreen Terrace and stuff. And I remember they played Epitaph, and I remember somebody pushed me, and their bass player kneed me in my eye. He's like, who headbutted my knee? And I was like, I did. He's like, dude, my knee is killing me. I was like, my head's killing me. And we kind of just had like a quick high five, and they went into Epitaph, and I'll just never forget. That was a song that brought that band into my radar. And I've been a huge fan of that band ever since.
Dude, before we play the song, I have to tell one more story about that show. I think it's the same RFS. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You remember Tim from Coastal Rock Productions?
Yes, and I already know what story you're going to say. It was during the Evergreen Terrace set, and yes, that was the same night.
So, there's this guy named Tim. I'm going to do you an impression so he's like, hey, my name's Tim, man. I've been playing bass for this band called Reflux. It's pretty cool. So he talks like that.
Very soft-spoken guy.
Real laid-back guy. Just totally cool. So we see him all the time at Savannah shows. He's our friend. He hangs out. He's a nice guy. And we love Reflux, so it was cool to see that he was playing bass for him. All of a sudden, we just see this gigantic fucking commotion. We're like, what the fuck is going on? So everybody spills outside, and we see Tim being pulled away from this guy who he had punched, and while he was pulling him away, Tim tried to punch him again.
The guy's significantly larger than him.
Yeah, huge guy. Like twice Tim's size.
Tim's a small dude first. I'm a skinny, small dude.
So you see some people fighting, and you see Tim just look mad as shit. So you just know he's gonna be like, "You motherfucker!" But he's like, "Don't judge me. I loved her." Of all the things you say in the rage of a battle, the most soft-spoken. Don't judge me. I loved her.
It's like Dana Carvey, like Garth Algar.
Yeah, Garth Algar, man. That was the funniest fucking shit. We said that like 800 times that day.
That was hilarious. And I don't want to go too much detail on this, man, but I'll just say, it's an inside joke. We'll tell it, I'm sure, in a later episode.
Yeah, that's coming up one
that's for another time.
But for right now, let's go ahead and play that song.
This is Darkest Hour with Epitaph.
Man, that's a fucking great song. If that song doesn't make you want to run a marathon, then you just don't want to run a marathon. You're fucking stupid.
It makes me wish I had long hair just so I could do like the little freaking spin my hair.
It's just like his fingers are so fast. That's such a great fucking riff.
That's an intense band right there. It's as simple as that.
And when we saw him, can we just point out that he looked exactly like Harry Potter?
He did. He had short hair. Now he has longer hair, but back then he had really short, kind of had like comb to the side, like Harry Potter did in one of those movies, and had the small or the roundish glasses, and he's a white, chubbier. I guess they're both white, so
yeah, a non-British.
There we go.
Oh,
chubbier
man.
Harry Potter.
So I'm gonna since you had left one out, I'm gonna let you go again. So
okay, yeah, okay. This song right here is like when I mentioned earlier about Mastodon playing with a band, they played with this other band, Dillinger Escape Plan. Yes. When you think of a band that if you listen to a band and you want to just introduce people to insane randomness and crazy off time, just insaneness, play any of their first 2 albums.
They named their album Calculating Infinity, for fuck's sake. So that should give you an idea of what it sounds like.
And this was a band, now I will admit, when I first heard Calculating Infinity, the first listen, I did not give it its just due.
Yeah.
It was a band that when I first listened to, I was like, it's not bad, but I just, it's too much going on. Mm-hmm. It sounded like, it was a lot going on. Their drummer, at the time I didn't realize it, but now, like, their drummer at the time in that album was just...
Chris Penny, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or Panay.
Was a fucking noodle or something.
Yes.
Pasta.
Was amazingly, insanely good.
Yeah.
If there are such words. He was that good.
He always had... I remember that he always had jazz drummer face. He's always smiling every time
but his arms look like Animal from the Muppets.
Yeah, really. He had a real small drum set, like a floor tom, a snare, and a bass drum.
Yeah. And I remember that show... They had a singer initially during the Calculating Infinity years, Dimitri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they came out with Irony Is a Dead Scene, which they had Mike Patton from Faith No More, Tomahawk, Mr. Bungle, Phantomus.
Yeah, our Lord and Savior Mike Patton.
Yeah, who I think is seriously the greatest vocalist ever.
Yeah, like, he can literally do anything.
Yeah, bar none. Great. Like I said, Jacob Bannon's Mike Patton is the greatest vocalist. He is the god to everybody else's disciple. Okay,
absolutely.
So Mike Patton came in saying "Irony Is a Dead Scene," amazing. Four song EP, probably what pushed them to the stratosphere, pushed them to the, I wouldn't say mainstream, but pushed them up there. Yeah. To the greats, I guess you could say.
Made people take notice of them. Because they're like, if a guy like Mike Patton is singing with them, they must have something special.
Exactly. In which, when they toured, they actually had gotten their new singer then, Greg, who is like this short, really buff, just like he looks like he's just a steroid freak, but I really don't think he is. He's just a really swole dude that when he sings, I think he's eating babies right before he comes out.
Yeah.
And it's all ravenous, like the movie Ravenous. He's just taking their energy, and that's what's going on.
Wendigo.
There we go.
Fucking movie.
Yes, that is a great movie. And I'll never forget, like, our buddy Cliff, who was there with us, was like, we don't need to stand right up against the rails. And I was like, come on, dude. And he was like, no, trust me, stand back. And come to find out, when they play, their guitarists swing their guitars like they're battle axes. Yep. And they are swinging for the fucking fences.
They have Ibanez's, which have super sharp headstocks on them. So it's like they have swords that they are just like slinging all over the places, fucking cutting people's faces and arms and shit. It's like a goddamn massacre in there.
And if you've never been to a Dillinger Escape Plan show, there's fire breathing. There's flashing epilepsy lights. There's there's guitar slinging and flying and acrobatics, and I mean it is an amazing. And this was a band that I had. They do again going back to Irony Is a Dead Scene. They do a cover of a techno. I don't know if you would call it a techno song. It's something
electronic
music. The Aphex Twins. Mm-hmm. I Want Your Soul, or I Will Eat Your Soul, that song. They cover that song with Mike Patton, and it is seriously one of the greatest covers ever. I mean, when it comes to like how a song originally sounds and how you metal the song, or with actual instruments, they did it. They did it with that. I mean, and Mike Patton, I remember watching the making of. He was wearing like egg crates over his mouth to get that sound to sound just like the original vocalists did for the original version of that song. Mm-hmm. But we're going to go into the again. They're a band now who's done 4 or 5 albums since then. Mm-hmm. Their sound has gotten a little cleaner, but they're still amazing band. But this song is actually off Irony is a Dead Sing. This is Dillinger Escape playing with Good Dogs Do Bad Things.
All praise Mike Patton.
I'm the best you'll ever have.
Do you feel blessed, brother, by the holiness that is Mike Patton?
I mean, it's just when you hear it, I want to know where he came up with those ideas for that song to do what he did with his vocal pattern. Because it still blows my mind to this day.
I think his brain, if I may go off on a deep end here, but in quantum physics, there's the realm of probability where all things spawn from. I think he can tap his brain directly into that fucking realm. The 0-point field is within Mike Patton's brain somewhere. I don't know how he comes up with half the shit he does, but he does everything. Anything. He could fucking spontaneously make material out of nothing, I'm sure.
Whatever you just kind of defined right there, sure. Sure, I agree with you. Whatever you just said, that sounds right. Quantum physics, Big Bang Theory, yes.
Yes. So speaking of yes, let's get down to the fucking final song.
And this song right here, this band is a band that me and Evan can both agree that kind of just threw us into the metal scene. That just threw us into wanting to be in a band. That threw us into wanting to being a band that plays breakdowns, or being a band that is actual metal band that has breakdowns, and that can still shred, and that can again, it's a band that it's killer.
When I think of Unearth, I think of everything that is right in the metal scene and the hardcore scene, because there's just not even words. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. Let me put it this way. There's a dress code at my job that says you're not supposed to wear, thick, like graphic t-shirts, or, if it's not a button-up collared shirt, you're not supposed to wear that. Well, I say fuck the dress code, and I wear the fucking Unearth hoodie in the middle of goddamn summer here in Georgia, which is like 8,000 degrees, just so people might say, what is Unearth? That's how fucking good they are. Everybody needs to hear this band because they are heavy, they are melodic, they have great uplifting lyrics, they make you think about shit. It's unbelievable. I remember.
I just want to stop right there. Evan, for people who don't know Evan is a guy that, from Game of Thrones, he is from the North. He is a White Walker. The guy wears hoodies in Georgia midsummer. We're talking 100+% humidity, 100 on top of 100-degree summer day. Evan's wearing shorts. You got that part right, and a fucking hoodie.
Yep.
And he's just like, hey guys, how's it going? No sweat. Doesn't sweat unless he's playing an instrument or doing whatever. Doesn't sweat. He is a White Walker.
It's Shaolin training, from the North. The North remembers.
From North Georgia. The Shaolin training from North Georgia.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
But seriously, I remember the first time I had ever heard Unearth was at a very horrible retail store called Hot Topic. My buddy Chris Andrew worked there, and Chris was one of our mutual friends that was like solidly into the hardcore scene, kind of helped us find a lot of music. And I had given him a band called Deep, which was like kind of like a God Forbid sounding type band. He's like, hey man, you might like this. So he gives me the Unearth EP, and I just remember the first time I had heard this song. This song is called Endless. When I heard the lead up to the breakdown, I realized that my life is as I knew it was over. Like, I was in my very bedroom. I was in my own fucking bedroom, and I heard and I was like, oh fuck, what's happening? And I realized at that moment, like Dragon Ball Z, my chi level was rising.
It's like when you find out what masturbation does to you for the first time.
Yes, this was like audio masturbation.
You're like, oh, okay, this kind of feels great. Or, this is kind of great. And then all of a sudden it's like, what's happening? And then when you get done, you're like, I want to do that again. Exactly. And then you sit in your bedroom for like all summer, and your parents wonder what's going on. But they kind of know.
They know that you're listening to Unearth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Unearth. Yeah, Unearth. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about.
So I'm just like sitting there, and I just feel like, when you hear a really good breakdown, you start to laugh a little bit. You're just like, oh my God, I can't fucking believe it.
Them motherfuckers.
You're just like, I can't believe this shit. You just get so happy. And I just remember getting tinglies, and I was just like, I'm sorry, bedroom. And I heard, and let's fight. And I kicked my fucking computer chair. And I'm just like throwing shit around. I'm just like, my power level is over 9,000.
And I didn't hear the EP first. I actually heard the EP second. Like, I was introduced to Unearth during the Stings of Conscience CD, which the first song I ever heard by Unearth was My Heart Bleeds No Longer.
Yeah.
That song, like that dun, 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 that right there was my shit.
For real.
That and I remember I got to see him live with a buddy of ours, Wes, who is also a huge Unearth fan, and they played that. They played My Heart Bleeds No Longer, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, this night couldn't get any greater." And then they played Endless right after it, and I just remember me and Wes made eye contact, and it was like we had this mutual thing in our heads, like, you know, I came. I came.
This moment now is happening. Yeah, everybody's dead.
Yeah. And it was amazing. I mean, this song, this band, this song, and they continue. Ken Susie is an amazing guitarist. Oh my god! And
Buzz McGrath.
What?
Buzz McGrath, other guitar player. Yeah. John Slomagas, bass player. Trevor, what? I can't remember.
Trevor Phillips.
Yes, but he has another name that I can't remember because our buddy Wes, who you just previously mentioned, ended up being like a road
their merch guy, roadie / beer go-getter or whatever it was.
He got me last time I saw Unearth live. He actually got us in free to see him, and we got to hang out in their van, and they're fucking hilarious guys. So it was cool that one of our buddies got to go be like
a part of that.
Yeah, you know,
it's something. So a band that I look up to. Like, there's few bands. I mean, there's a couple bands I look up to like tremendously, and Unearth is definitely one of them. Their work ethic, their determination, their music ability. I mean, this is a band that does it all.
If you ask me, every fucking fighter in mixed martial arts should play this song when they go to the ring.
When they're walking out to the ring. But see, I couldn't do that because if I was an MMA fighter and they started playing Endless or any song by Unearth, I would just, as soon as I walked out, I'd be like, oh, look, there's a random person punched to the face.
Yeah,
and that'd be the end of it.
Let me spin kick this entire crowd.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Unearth was playing Forgive Me. And I think they would forgive me because it's Unearth.
Absolutely. And let's go right into the song. Let's listen to it right now. This is a song that changed our life. Endless by Unearth. Enjoy it.
Endless fights!
Apparent future, all too real, and still I try. Endless fight, 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 fight. Endless tragedy. Shaking
Oh man,
I came.
I just punched straight through to China. I punched a hole straight through to China, and then I apologized, and I filled it back up.
But the food was delicious.
It was. If you've never had Peking duck, listen to this song and punch a hole through the earth, and just go try some. Because it's fucking amazing. What a list we have made today.
I mean, again, this is not your list. This is not the list. This is our list. This is bands that we thought would... First off, bands that brought us to where we are today when it comes to music. These are bands that made an impact on both of our lives. So go out there, find a band. Go out there and listen to all these bands we mentioned. Buy merch. Check them out on tour.
Please buy merch, because merch and ticket sales are basically the only ways that bands get paid these days. You can buy a CD in a store, it ain't going to mean shit. I mean, it might look good on the Nielsen ratings, but that band's not getting any money from it.
That's true. But like I said, go out there, make up your own list. Sit down and just write down write down what songs meant the most to you. And then just think of what bands, just inspired you to do better, inspired you just musically or just, in your way of thinking, your way of life.
Yeah, and then find our Facebook page and tell us about it, because we want to know. We want to know what songs you like, what bands you like, because we're always looking for new music ourselves.
And you can look us up on the Facebook, Double Dragon Moshcast. You can also email us, ddmoshcast@yahoo.com. And also, if you're in a band, email us a song. We'll feature it on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll give you a little plug there. Both Chris and I are working men out in bands, playing the Weekend Warrior gigs. I do vocals for a band called World Demise. It's kind of like Black My Heart, Madball, Harm's Way style hardcore. And Chris is, I'll let you...
I play in a band called Dragon Sleeper. I sing for them. It's kind of like if you like 80s thrash, 80s metal, with a just harmonizing kick in it and a little tough guy vocals to it.
Yeah. Some damn good breakdowns, too.
Thanks, man. It's a band that I've been lucky enough to be a part of, thanks to Evan Jones.
I had fun while I was in it, too. I'm glad it's still going, man.
And you need to check out World Demise. If you're ever in the Middle Georgia area, or if you're on Facebook, look up Dragon Sleeper and World Demise. We'll shameless plug the hell out of it.
That's right.
And Evan, why don't you shameless plug your other podcast?
I'm on another podcast called The Offenders, where we just kind of talk about nerd culture, what the fuck news, and basically just make fun of each other the whole time and make bad puns. So if that sounds like something you want to do while you're sitting at work, driving to work, something like that, download us. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes. We have a website, wearetheoffenders.com. All of it's there. It's all free. You don't got to pay for any of it. So check that out if you would.
And I've actually been lucky enough. I knew he was part of the podcast for a while. In January, I started downloading everything I could from them, and I've listened to everything they have. It is freaking hilarious.
Thank you.
They argue about everything.
Yep.
They have a unhealthy addiction to masturbation / anime / frozen coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All those things are true. And it's like we kind of all have our own niche. Like Shane is the guy who lives out in the middle of the woods. He's kind of like our mediator guy. Kyle is like the angriest mathematician in the world. I secretly think he's gay. Whoops, did I say that?
I'm glad it was. I don't know Kyle, but I'm not going to say I thought the same thing, but I thought the same thing.
But as you can see, we're busting jokes on each other. I'm the straight edge nerd who just drinks coffee and eats burgers and just talks about anime and complains about his lack of dates. Probably because I'm spending all my fucking time watching anime.
I am the guy who has the family, who works his ass off.
That's
but
true.
Yet, I have such a good group of friends, and I still play metal and have the support behind to continue to do it.
Absolutely. And hey, if you just want to shoot the shit with us, talk to us on Facebook. You can find us both on there. Evan Jones,
Chris Monk.
Add us on there. We can, give you some funny stuff to think about. Maybe trade some CDs, whatever you want to do. But, man, I can't think of anything else.
I can't either. Hey, great first podcast. Hey, guys, share us to all your friends. Bring all your friends. Tell them to come listen to us. Again, send us an email. Send us some comments. Send us a message. We can't wait to hear from you. High five.
High five.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Thanks for listening to us. Until next time, I'm Chris Monk.
I think I'm Evan Jones.
Evan Jones, and this has been the Double Dragon Moshcast
with Billy and Jimmy Lee.
Yeah!